Hello everyone. Today's topic is something that usually is an issue for many people. This is how to treat ourselves and how to treat others in a situation where it feels like we need to be kinder to ourselves, and then the consciousness or something, it's not the consciousness, it is something from within says you need to be kinder or you need to be stricter with others or whatever that it is. It's a balance for everybody. Like, it is different for everybody because everybody's karmic entanglements is very different, circumstances that we are all born into, and the level that we are spiritually awakened, and our past experiences, and how much we remember our lessons and practices. That it is not the lessons that we learn, it is just remembering what is actually important for us and to stick to that. Rejecting, or it's not about rejecting, it is about accepting the actual understanding of what our life supposed to be. For example, if someone is born into circumstances where either they were forced or they were made to feel like they need to be kinder to everybody, or they saw their uncles, aunties, their parents, or their cousins all being very kind and nice to each other, there is no animosity within themselves, and they are like completely, there is no caution between themselves. They can leave their home in their cousin's hands and they can go around and do everything and come back in a year, and their house will be still taken care of. And these kind of people, they may spend their whole life in a similar way without having to bat an eye. But there are sometimes people who are manifestors, who manifest things easily. It's kind of a thing that how to say, there are people who are overly cautious, there are people who are not cautious at all, but things are different for everybody. And these kind of people who either trust their friends or give some responsibilities to somebody else, it actually is different. For example, if somebody has a very loving family and they trust each other, and suddenly their colleagues or somebody in their friends group, and suddenly they decided to trust them, and it worked differently from their expectation. It is all about how we handle ourselves. It's because we are individuals born into different circumstances, and everybody's understanding of life is different, everybody's life experience is different, and from the life experience whatever we absorb and understand and accept and practice is completely different from each other. It is not just about life lessons, it is remembering our essence, what is the universal laws are, how to make it work. Because people who are in a place of understanding that happiness is something that they are responsible for it, not someone else. It is actual understanding. Teenage love is different than somebody who's in love when they're in 30s or 40s. Even if it is feels same, there are a lot of people who may get angry on God and say, it's always like this, it is always like that, and they shift internally because of some dissatisfaction or something that they feel like it's not working for them, and instead of finding the answer, solution, focusing on the issue is the reason. My point of this video is, people who are taught to be kind to others, who are forced in a taught way, without they realizing it. When they were children, it was forced on them, it was told to them, it was multiple times they were forced to accept certain behaviors. Who doesn't know? Letting somebody else be the reason of the suffocation is something that goes against the divine will, because we are somehow responsible for certain part of our own existence, our happiness, our things. So saying no is something that we should practice. People who are soft-hearted, so people who are kinder, empathetic, nice, and everybody. There are a lot of people who appreciate these kind of people. This person is so nice. No, you are so nice. You are so kind. You are so giving. You are so hardworking. It feels nice to receive this appreciation, but these kind of people are the one who usually, if they lack self-love and self-respect, and if they don't know how to put boundaries with people who do things end up doing things for others and live with lot of possibly regrets because they wanted to say something they couldn't because they felt like, if they say something, what if the other person get angry, what if that relationship breaks down? Maybe parents, maybe siblings, maybe friends, maybe loved ones, maybe colleagues. This is exactly why there are people who follow their guts. It is essential to follow our guts. And no, I wouldn't say go and fight with people. That is not the point of life. My point is, in order to treat somebody else better, we are not supposed to treat ourselves negatively, badly, that compromises, that sacrifices in the name of, responsibility or this is how it's supposed to be. Because there are a lot of people, if they are in a bus, imagine even if they are not feeling so nice, or even if they are tired, and they give up their seat to an elderly because it's how it's supposed to be, and when they get home, they're irritated and they take their anger on somebody else, their children, their wife, their mothers, their sisters, or their brothers, or whatever it is, or they couldn't sleep properly because of it. This is because if they did not get up and let that elderly person sit, they feel guilt. It is something that we have to, it's our responsibility to change that kind of behavior. It is essential to be kinder to ourselves. In order to be kinder to somebody else, I wouldn't say anything personally towards anybody, do this or do that. It is simple understanding, it's individualistic, it's very personal, but it's also very essential. In order to do something good for others, we are not supposed to lose ourselves in the process. We are not supposed to let go of that self-respect. We are not supposed to abandon ourselves. We are supposed to be kinder and gentler and accepting of ourselves. And when we are in a place of content, then doing something for somebody else, because it is something that brings us happiness, not that suffocation or regret or something, without those kind of negative things, then it's okay. It is still up to us, because even if it feels like, helping others is actually good, it is not a bad thing. But people who are born into trauma, they are made to sacrifice, they are made to compromise because they don't know how to take a situation where they are supposed to sit down and not to think about somebody else, and they don't know how to do it because they were made to be that kind of a person where they always think about others, they always have concern for others, even if it is strangers, even if somebody, you see that people who cleans the street, or even if you see the bus who's just hanging on the door, you feel sorry for them. It is not our point. Is there anything that we can do directly? Then having that kind of feeling is something that's not nice, because our energy is used whenever we think of something. It is like a manifesting something. Wishing something else, someone else is good, but if we are in a place of contentment, then having to think about this and that, what I learned from my spirit guardians is it's very essential to do things for the sake of love and not because of the feeling of guilt or feeling of responsibility. No, it's it's very different for everybody, because if you say that, if a father or a mother, if you say, if they say like, I don't like feeling like doing something for my kids, so am I supposed to do it or not? If I'm feeling like I should be responsible for it, then only I want to do it. That's kind of a very different. It's not about those kind of things. Responsibility is responsibility, and when a responsibility becomes something very negatively entanglement, this is exactly why people divorce, because it's for some reason it becomes suffocating for them, or it's not working out for them. It is because the consciousness, the awareness of the people is different, their preference is different, because there are a lot of people who basically have almost every single thing that someone else want. They may still be in a place of desiring something that they never had, and that's not the thing. They may be in a place where they were never content with whatever they had. And there are people who seems like doing okay or not even doing okay. They may be content with a lot of things that they themselves were never aware of. Even if they think that they are not living well, they were content with a lot of things. For example, if you see the people who are in a higher financial bracket, because of their friend circles, their colleagues, the family circles, they may feel lesser about themselves because maybe their cousins are more financially able, maybe their car has a biggest price tag. It's never changing, like it is internal to be okay with whatever we have. And if we are not okay and focusing on that without feeling that suffocation, and in order for that self-love that we have for us, go ahead and doing all of sort of things, and not desiring these kind of things because somebody else has a bigger car or a expensive car. It is because we want. So treating ourselves and treating someone else is also something same. Choosing to treat somebody else in a certain way because we want to, because we want to show that love and affection, kindness, care, without abandoning, without abusing ourselves, is the point. Because a lot of time, when kids grow up, they are taught a lot of things. This is exactly why people usually in their 30s or 40s, their mindset changes, because when they were kids, they were taught something else, they practiced it to a certain extent, and they saw someone else experiences something completely different because they behaved in a different way. And this person realizing it's not particular about anybody, it's a usual thing that happens to people. This is exactly why they call midlife crisis, because suddenly they realize the way they thought their behavior would be, or their responsibility would be, whatever they chose to do as a person did not serve them. This is exactly why midlife crisis is something that I would say that people suddenly realizing whatever they did because of their belief system, their personality, they mended into their decision to do and not to do things, their decision to accept and not to do or not accept things, cause them certain experience situations in their life. They are not content. This is exactly, suddenly they realizing that they missed something, they lacked something, or they were not supposed to do this, they were not supposed to. This is exactly why people, midlife crisis. That's just not a bad thing. It is just finally they reached a place of understanding that the way they treated themselves, the way they let others treat them, made them reach that place. It is not just because of a relationship that they had with, it was because the lessons they accepted from other people, the belief system that they accepted from other people, and practiced it, and whatever they absorbed from watching others, learning from family. A lot of people who force their kids to be kind, and they never teach kids to be, stand up and speak for yourself. I'll protect you. How many people say that? It's good to teach kids to be kind to others, but it's very essential to teach kids to treat themselves very nicely as well. So there is no particular benchmark or A plus B formulas for these kind of things. It's very personal, because free will works that way on earth. If somebody is okay with completely sacrificing themselves for the sake of someone else, if they are content with it, it's up to them, because ultimately everything is connected through love. Point of our life is to be in a place where we experience that love towards ourselves, and we do things for the sake of love. We like it, we love it, and it's good for us. Please understand that people who do things in the name of love as an addiction, it is not love, that is drama speaking in a different way. But doing things because it gives us happiness is okay. For example, if you have imagine if there is two friends are there and they meet up all the time, and one person is always late, they are never on time, and another person, they reaches the place every single time at exactly whenever, however they decided to, and the other person always gives excuses, this and that and that. It's because if the first person who always reaches on time, if they are okay with this kind of behavior, then I would still say they lack that self-love, because they do not value their time, they do not value themselves enough to tell the friend, look, I also have a life. Even if they are sitting at home and doing nothing, it is not nice to be in a friendship where the other person thinks that it's okay to show up late every single time. If a person realizes that, it means that they have that self-respect. People do not think these kind of things as something bigger, because they do not particularly realize these kind of things unless they hit their least human experience in their life, hitting the rock bottom. But it's also essential to see if the other person has genuine any problems, and maybe they are busy with something all the time, and they are literally basically making time just for this sake, and reach the place even if it is late. They do all the time, so every single time it's different. It means even if there is a people, for example, if there is a bunch of people get together all the time as a friends, and they eat whatever they want, different things, and if they decide to share the bill, even if they are filthy rich, if somebody has a lot of money, it might still sting them. Why am I supposed to do that? If somebody has a habit of taking less expensive food, or something that they consume very less, which did not cost money, and every single time they were supposed to pick up someone else's tabs, because imagine if there are 10 people, friends, they always meet up, and they eat, they share the meal equally, or they are like imagine if it is somebody who's in a college, and how long a person can take it. If somebody has the ability to understand these kind of things, they would say, no, I'm not attending, because this is not how it's supposed to be. Or they were clearly making the boundary, saying that, look, I'm not picking up somebody else's tab, because one time, two time, it's fine here and there, but not all the time, because that is not what I like. But if somebody is okay with that, even if they think it's okay, that's just that the other people are taking the benefit of this person. To understand that this is how it is, and then deciding, knowing that this is the other person is taking benefit of this person, and being completely in content with it is completely different. Then that is fine. If somebody knows that the other person, the other people are doing this consciously or without, sometimes they do it. Expressing that is very important, to let everybody know that they know what's going on and they are not liking it, because a lot of time people having a different family values, people who surrounded by a lot of kind of people, this kind of thing doesn't matter. So they may think that it's same for everybody. There are people who grew up in a smaller family, or they were made to grow very independently. They wouldn't know how to be in a group where it's not about the money. It is not about the money. It's about certain principles that they grew up with. So it's essential, if it feels like suffocating, it's very important to open up and say that to the other person. And it is not to make them feel guilty for something. It is just because you experienced a feeling that it was not okay for you to experience that, and you are saying that to other person because they should know. And then whatever they do, based on that, we can take the next step to continue with that meeting. Or if they are not content with your expression of you're not being okay with you sharing too much money every single time you get together, and then deciding that you want to keep these kind of people in your life or not becomes the responsibility of ours. If we do not speak, with the time it becomes normal for them to behave such a way in all ways. For example, there are a lot of people who let others treat them badly because they don't know how to stop that. So this video is for those kind of people to pause, to sit and to contemplate, and asking yourself, are you really okay? No, not thinking about whatever you learned from your elders. This is okay, that is not. Are you really okay with the life experience that you are having with other people? How they treat you, how they speak to you, how your relationship is with the other person, how you are treating yourself. This is something that we should be speaking to ourselves. And if it is not okay, and it is wise to, if it is close relationship, it is better to speak and express our dissatisfaction and reason for it without giving a explanation why it is, because it's up to us. If something makes us uncomfortable, means we do not need to give that excuse or explanation to somebody else why it is making us different. It's just how it is. Not acceptable means not acceptable. But to handle that with diplomacy, or handle that with surety, being assertive, is something that we can choose to do. My point of this video is something simple. People treating themselves, people treating others in a different way, especially those people who grew into a lot of narcissistic family, or surrounded by people who are always harsh, unkind, takers, who are never complimenting, never appreciating, who never say thank you or sorry. It's essential to treat ourselves kinder without having to think what others may think of that kind of a behavior, and without sacrificing, without compromising, then being kind to somebody else, and then being okay with that without having a tinge of regret, is something that we can choose to do. I hope you understand.